Today, lecture in the Green Screen International Series titled Shaping a Responsible Film Industry. It's the main topic of our meeting, which is very connected with sustainability, which is the main one of the main topics of our GEM project. My name is Małgorzata Kotlińska. I'm joining you from Lodz Film School in Poland. I'm very pleased to co-host this event with Goran Pavlic from the Academy of Dramatic Art in Zagreb, Croatia.
I would also like to welcome all our guests, colleagues, and presenters especially. And I hope, we can start and then we will, in the Q&A, then deliberate further on the issues.
This session, I hope, will aim to empower students and also the teachers to foster change in film and media industries through sustainability, some kind of reflection, I think, and also the ethical practices. And today we will try to explore how the film industry can involve toward being more creative, inclusive, ethical, and environmentally responsible. And our speakers will discuss emerging professional roles, working conditions, and sustainable production practices. And at the beginning, let me now introduce our guests. First, Zuzanna Rymkiewicz is a film production coordinator and manager who believes, as she said, in a conscious and responsible approach to filmmaking. A graduate of Film and TV Production Organization Department and the Lodz Film School, and she will present the role of the intimacy coordinator in the film production process. Zuzanna, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, and our next speaker is Victoria Kaptur. Victoria, born in Minsk and currently based in Warsaw, is also a graduate of Łódź Film School with a degree in film production. Victoria's thesis focused on sustainable development and film production, and she currently works as an assistant production manager at the creative agency, where she tried to apply the green principles she studied before. So it might be a great reflection and inspiration about the topic connected with the green revolution on the film sets and the role of the new professions in sustainable production. And Victoria will take a look at the role of the eco-consultant on the film set. Victoria, we are very welcome to have you here.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and Filip Kuczmarski. Also, Filip is a graduate of the Lodz Film School, where he conducted research on human rights in the film industry. He has professional experience as a production manager in live action film and worked with Łódź Film Commission, gaining first-hand knowledge of working conditions. Although he is no longer active in the field, he will present his findings from his bachelor's research. We remember that Filip was our guest before at our one of our last green screen series, but he was focusing more on the Polish market, and today he will try to describe working conditions on the film sets in Europe, the role of labor unions and differences in the industry standards. And Filip, nice to have you once again, because this is very important topic with, but right now with more international view.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Well, okay, so we will start with Zuzanna Rymkiewicz with the role of intimacy coordinator in the film production process. Zuzanna, the floor is yours. We will start with the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction and having me here today. So I'm here to talk about the role of the intimacy coordinator in the film production. And as it may come as a surprise, but first time this profession was ever used on set was in 2016. So not so long ago. And for me now, I think it should be a standard, and it seems like a stunt coordinator or other professions that we just have to make our work safe and environment of our work safe also. But this is not the beginning, the 2016. So maybe I will tell you first, I want to talk about the backgrounds and how this profession emerged and from what disciplines, because they also are different, and it can influence the way the coordinator works. And then I will come to the organizations that are currently working as such agencies or providing courses. And then I will talk about my own experience, because this is part also of my bachelor thesis. But since then, I had some professional experience, and I worked in the full feature movie, where I had the chance to work with the intimacy coordinators on different levels, and also different kinds of approach, with different kinds of the approach they presented. So first, the backgrounds with the theory of this profession can be set around the year of 2006. So, but this is connected with the theater mostly, and especially actually, this is the work that was exploring the idea of working with actor on stage during the intimacy scenes. But as this is very much connected with the choreography of the body and also with the psychological aspects, this is a very different environment than the movie and the set production. So I think the boundaries and also the way we approach is completely different, and the boundaries we can set on the stage are different that we can cross sometimes in the movie production. And the other discipline that gave base to the establishing this profession was stunt coordinators and choreographers. And on the presentation, you can see the Fight Master cover. It is a branch magazine of the stuntmen and this discipline. But actually, it was before the year of 2017. It was the main platform to talk and to write about the theoretical basis of the work. And here we have the articles that were published in this magazine. And also Alicia Rodis she was the first intimacy coordinator to ever work on movie set. It was this case of 2016, and the TV series, it was actually the TV series The Deuce. It was produced by the HBO. So the other book that cover is here. It's also the book that somehow gave base for the formulating the rules by Ita O'Brien, and she is one of the most famous intimacy coordinators. And also this book was the inspiration for her, and the authors are her mentors. So this is another publication that also somehow gave the fundaments for establishing this this profession. And now everything changed, and the groundbreaking point in the history of this of this job was Me Too movement, of course. So when in 2017 we have the tweet that went viral with the actress that was posted by the actress Alicia Milano. It was the first time the industry realized that this kind of profession is needed, and it's also a very responsible approach. And we also came to we saw the scale of the abuse that was going on, and mostly this was Hollywood, of course, but not only, also the actresses and the actors from the other countries gave their testimony to the cases of harassment they were part of. And I don't want to get too deep into this Me Too movement, but what is important is this was the very strong impulse, and this kind of changed the industry and make the producers and make the industry to establish some rules of producing intimacy scenes. And this is also around the time when first organizations appeared. So one of them is Intimacy Directors and Coordinators. It was founded 1 year before by the first intimacy coordinator to ever work on the film set. And previously it was called Intimacy Directors International. And this is also kind of important because the intimacy directors is very often referred to the stage and live performances, whereas intimacy coordinators, it's the term that it's being referred to the coordinators working in the movie, film, and television industry. So previously, this organization was mostly focused on the live performances, and so was Alicia Roddy's, but after a few years, they changed the name and they include both of the live and film performances. And the other organization that appeared was Intimacy for Stage and Screen, and this is the organization that first was focused mostly on the theater. It was also emerged in 2016. Then it was connected with the first one, so Intimacy Directors and Coordinators. But today it is separate being Intimacy for Stage and Screen. But this when we see the team and the people who work on the screen and television production and the people who are connected more with the theater, we can see this is also much more focused on the theater. And both of those organizations works kind of as an agencies for the intimacy coordinators, but they also provide courses. And this is, of course, focused around USA and intimacy for stage and screen. This is mostly UK. But the first organization that was mainly and only focused on the working on the set was founded in 2017 by Ita O'Brien, and this is Intimacy on Set. And her guidelines also became one of the most important and gave base to the guidelines of the Screen Actors Screen Actors Guild. So this is the parts of the best practice when working with intimacy, but this is like some kind of the code that can be used by the intimacy coordinators, but it's also very good to know it from the production side and from the production perspective. And both of those, all of three of those organizations on their websites provide some free guidelines and materials about the responsible and good approach for producing this kind of scenes. And here we have also the Screen Actor Guild list of expertise and training that such intimacy coordinators should have. So among them, there is a consent training, anti-harassment training, or other practices, even meditation, conflict resolution training. But in practice, of course, this is connected also to the United States and their movie industry. In practice in Europe, I think the background of the such coordinator can be very different, and it is very good to include all those courses that are suggested, but actually this is also choreography, psychology, and sexuology background, as well as stand work. It can be somebody with some elements of theatrical movement practices, or coaching courses can also be the base to work as intimacy coordinator. And I think this is very different from the production perspective. What we choose also gives different solutions, different workflow, and different results in the end. And this is very important to understand the scenes that we are working with, because I think the intimacy coordinators can have very, very wide abilities and can be very widely implemented in the production and used as somehow psychological support, and also the choreography support. So when working with scenes, we have to decide whereas what is more important for the producer, for us, for the production, for the director. I know that I heard that a lot of directors are not so happy about working with intimacy coordinators. I don't know why this idea is so criticized. However, I think this is also from some lack of different idea of how the intimacy coordinator work should look like, because he's not there to somehow change the director's vision. He's there just to make this vision safe and respectful for the actor. For example, the scenes that involve violence and scenes that involve some kind of physical force and movement, I think should be produced with the help of the choreographer, who is also a intimacy coordinator with the courses, and this gives the best results. Whereas some scenes that are very complicated on the emotional level should be also carried by some psychologists, and this is the this variety. It's just because the different cases that we can have in our work, and so this is about the backgrounds of the intimacy coordinators, and now how exactly they work in the film production process. This is on the level of development, table reads, actor consultation, and castings even, especially castings which involve some nudity. This is, I think this is important, and this is not only important for the creating the safe space for actor, but this is also important from the producer side, and from the producers, for producers' safety. So this is the best practice to have, to be sure that everything is done the best way it can be done. But also on the production level, before going on set, we can have some rehearsals, we can have some psychology sessions with the actor, and this work that we do before, it's very much saving ourselves not only time, but also some stress on set, which can lead to the worst workflow. I mean, not being prepared well. So what such intimacy coordinator gives us also is being prepared. So having the scene very well, like emotionally break down with the actor, and also on the level of the movement, we can rehearse on set, on offset, but a lot of actors and coordinators very often ask to rehearse on set because the location and the movement, some emotions is also very, it can also be somehow built better on the location, the same environment. And finally, on set, intimacy director can be, but also doesn't have to be, but can be somehow the support of the first AD. So he can be in touch with the actors, he can check and give the information if the actor is ready to for another take, or is he does he need some break and some time to rest. And I think this is the most important part, but very often because also after this profession emerged, a lot of producers, the big companies like Netflix or HBO series started to just to put in their contract of co-production the this need to involve the intimacy coordinator. And from my experience, I know that some producers try to avoid having intimacy director and coordinator on set, and they're just involving them in the development process. So they have some consultations of the script, and this is as far as it goes. And I think the being prepared well on set can save some time, and also important part of the production and the work between the actor, the director, and production is also naming and just selecting the scenes that should be consulted or should be realized, should be produced with the intimacy coordinator. And I think this is important to communicate and talk with actors, but sometimes it's good not to also trust them. I mean, I have the situation when the actress, even though before we used the intimacy coordinator in the scene, she had some intimacy scene. It involved kissing, but it was between husband and wife. So the emotions around the scene were quite positive. And she didn't want it to use the intimacy coordinator because she knew the scene partner very well. She didn't want to have anybody to distract her. And we listened. We didn't have the intimacy coordinator, and then on set the time pressure began, and we were running late. So the director was pushing on very fast and very nervous, working and doing this very, very quickly. So the actress just said she can't do it without the intimacy coordinator. So this cost production a scene, and we have to find another day to put this one shot. But after all, it is sometimes important. So I think this is very important to have this in mind, and I think the presence of the intimacy coordinator can make the work better, the result better, the actors and the crew also working in the better and safer environment. And yes, now we can go to the questions.
Yes, okay, thank you, Zuzanna. It was really interesting presentation.
Yes, and very informing. So please, members of the audience, put question. I believe there are many of those because the topic is still, well, at least in some national context, still really underdeveloped. So it's not the standard. I wanted to pose a question. First, is there a kind of obligatory decision to include the intimacy coordinator on the film set in the Poland?
Well, I think this is, it depends from the co-producers and from the actor's agent, because the two ways the intimacy coordinator can be has to be assured on the set is where, for example, actor can have this in their agreement, so the agency can negotiate with the producers the agreement for the actor to play in the movie, with the condition that all the nudity or semi-nudity scenes or intimate scenes involve intimacy coordinator. And I think the other possibility is when the co-producer like Netflix or some foreign platforms, because actually I don't know, but I don't think that I think that institute or some public way to finance the movie, they don't have this regulation. However, Netflix does.
We don't have the extra point like for the ecological practices according the intimacy. Yes, so it's might be in the future it might be somehow connected, but right now, Zuzia, if you agree, it's very important what you said, that it's also the point of view of the actor or the agent of the actor, that they want to work with, if they read the screen, they need or ask for such a person to be involved during this process of collaborating with the director. Yes, it's. I think that this is very important
Yes.
way. Mhm.
Yes, I agree. This is one of the way to assure that. So this is important, and I think it depends also on the actors, because there are some actors that also don't like working with the intimacy coordinators. But I think this is very personal choice. However, even if actor doesn't really want this, I think that producer or the production manager, knowing how hard the scene can be, can also uh, involve such person, and their presence on the set doesn't need to be, it's not to push anybody to do something they don't want, so like in this case actor, but to have the opportunity to have this help when it's needed. So I think this is also good practice, especially in some very violent and intimacy scene.
I have one question according the research you did. Do you have the reflection what kind of people might have the best competencies or interest to be a good coordinator? Are those among from those people are psychologists? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it can be choreographers, psychologists, sexologists, stunt work, stuntmen or stunt coordinators. And I think in Poland, I worked with one coordinator, and she was a choreographer, but also with some courses that are listed here, like courses from anti-harassment or this kind of more psychological preparation. But I know there are also coordinators in Poland who are, for example, from the production. They had experience in the production, from the production side, and after that they finished some courses in psychology and sexology and coaching, and then knowing the film set and having those competences in from the edge of psychology, sexology, coaching also can be can can be the competence that are needed to do this job. However, I think it depends on the scene. So when it's more physical body involving, I think this choreography background is very important. However, sometimes maybe it's good even to involve psychology and choreographer, but I think it depends on the character of the scene. But also the stunt coordinators were the first who started to work on as intimacy coordinators. So I think those competences and some practice, some courses, the best thing it's a combination of both.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, if you would like to ask put some question on the chat, please do it during the next presentation. Right now, we are very thankful, Zuzia, for your presentation. It was pretty interesting. And now we are moving to Victoria Kaptur, with the topic the Green Revolution on the film set, the role of the new professions is in sustainable production, eco consultant. Victoria, the floor is yours. Please share your presentation.
Today I would like to introduce you to an important position in the film crew, the role of an eco manager, or so-called eco coordinator. This is a rather new position in the film crew. It existed for about 10 years, and it has been already introduced in the US, but it is still not very common here in Europe. And I would like to start my presentation from talking about why is it important to establish a separate role, such as eco coordinator. So first of all, not everyone in a film crew are aware of the impact that filmmaking has on the environment. And this is mainly because environmental education is still not widespread. So this is where eco coordinator can help. Such a person will educate the crew, promote green practices on set. They will develop a green strategy that everyone on the film set should follow. Another reason why it is important to have a special person dedicated to managing the implementation of sustainable practices on set is the fact that film production is a rather complex process, and there are many ways that we can apply green solutions during the production. Right now, productions are taking small steps, such as eliminating plastic on set or choosing vegetarian meals, which is already a step forward. But to make a real impact, sustainability needs to be a part of every stage of production. So we need this specific person to monitor how sustainable solutions are implemented at every stage of production. And given the complexity of the whole process of film production, given those responsibilities to an already existing crew member, such as producer, assistant producer, unit production manager, would be impossible because they already have too many responsibilities, and they also sometimes lack knowledge on sustainability. So these are the main reasons why we actually need a special position in a film crew, such as eco manager. Ideally, an eco manager should join the film crew as soon as possible, usually even on the stage of development, to consult the script. And then he will have some specific responsibilities at every stage of production. So during pre-production, such a person, first of all, creates a pro-eco plan. The strategy that they will share with every department head and make sure that they communicate it to their crew members and follow it during the whole production. A key aspect in sustainability, in implementing sustainability strategy, is its influence on film's budget, because we have this misconception that green practices influence badly on the film's budget. We usually think that these are very costly, but it is actually the responsibility of an eco manager to prove to the producer that it shouldn't be that way. Sometimes going green doesn't mean higher cost. It can actually lead to saving money. And eco manager is the person who should be able to prove it to the producer and create a special budget that shows how introducing various green practices can actually influence the budget. Then also, of course, during the pre-production, eco manager plans the transportation and organizes office spaces to make them as sustainable as possible. Here you have some basic rules that sustainable office should follow. And in fact, all those things, they may seem not difficult to implement, but all of them require careful planning and coordination in advance. Then during the production, eco coordinator is responsible for managing the disposal or reuse of the disposal of the food leftovers, of organizing food donations for charities. They also monitor CO2 emissions, and I would like to talk about calculating CO2 emissions at the end of my presentation because this is a very important aspect. Of course, eco coordinator monitors and ensures that all departments follow the sustainability goals, and they also manage waste disposal. Again, these actions are not difficult to implement, but they also should be carefully planned in advance. Then when we go to post-production, the eco manager manages the disposal or reuse of set materials, costumes, because sometimes we've got this problem that because the logistics are not planned carefully ahead, sometimes it is easier to throw things away just because it costs less. But of course, if we plan the logistics beforehand, we can be more sustainable in our actions. So the eco manager ensures that the materials are sent to film storages or repurposed. Then, as I already mentioned, they calculate the total CO2 emissions. For these purposes, we have special carbon footprint calculators. And they also, the eco manager also assesses the sustainability plan. When they have those calculations, the last thing to do is to assess whether the implementation of sustainability goals was successful, and they compare the sustainability plan's impact to the allocated budget. So why is it important to make reports and collect the data? First thing is the budget. As I mentioned before, we've got this misconception that green practices are very costly, and the eco coordinator plays a key role here to show that going green doesn't have to be more expensive. Tracking data, using right tools, choosing the reliable carbon calculator is important to be able to actually have the real numbers and to show how various green strategies influence the budget, because sometimes they actually lead to cost reductions. And another important aspect is tracking CO2 emissions. And here, well, first of all, we needed to actually realize whether the sustainability plan was successful, but also it is important because it helps motivate the crew and motivate the producers to implement green practices in the future. Because when we simply talk about some specific green practices, it may sound not, it may be difficult to explain individual crew members why they need to follow this sustainability plan. But when they see concrete numbers, they are more likely to understand the impact that their actions had. So it is important to create such reports and later share them with the crew to show why following the green rules actually mattered. Here, for example, I have some examples of the CO2 calculators that exist on the market. And now that I've already talked about the responsibilities I mentioned are, these are not all the responsibilities that Eco Coordinator has. There's much more we can do at every stage, but I was talking about the main responsibilities such a person has during the production. And now that I've covered this, I would like to talk a bit about the origins of eco-management, because as I mentioned, this profession emerged around 10 years ago, and the challenges eco-coordinators were facing back then, they still stay relevant today. So one of the pioneers of sustainable production was Emily O'Brien. Here you can see her on the left. She has worked on major film productions such as the Amazing Spider-Man 2, that was recognized by Sony Pictures as the most sustainable blockbuster. She has also worked on Noah in 2014, another big Hollywood production, and she was one of the first eco stewards. That's how the profession was called back then. And in 2013, she founded the organization Earth Angels. These organizations operate in US and Canada, and they promote sustainability in film production. The organization gathers professionals in this field who help various Hollywood productions become greener, but they also educate new eco-coordinators. So anyone interested in becoming an eco-manager can turn to them to get the knowledge needed for this profession. And also talking about the origins, an important role was played here by the Producers Guild of America, the PGA, who published the report about green production and importance of going green in 2014. And as I said, back in 2014, they have named some problems that eco-manager faces. And I think that they still stay relevant today, especially in Europe, especially if we talk about smaller productions. And among such problems where the lack of awareness and training, which is obvious, then the misconception that green practices increase cost, and I have already talked about it a lot. And this is actually one of the most common problems that we face when we want to introduce green practices. Then there's also low motivation within the industry. And here, as I said, if we create reports, I guess we could fight with this problem and we could solve it. And another very important aspect is the lack of government and industry support. And here I would say that there are some changes going on, but still very slowly. Because, for example, in Poland, we do have, if we talk about the productions funded by the government, sometimes we do have those additional points for introducing eco practices, but it still happens very rarely. But if we do, if we do introduce the green practices on some governmental level, it would obviously make it much easier to go green during film production. Here there are some extracts of Emily O'Brien's work that she published in 2014, talking about the problems eco-managers face, and you can read them. I would say that they still stay relevant today. And I would say that to wrap it up, it is important to say that in the context of small productions, the introduction of an eco-coordinator as a separate role may seem not feasible yet. But it doesn't mean that we cannot go greener. For now, I would say that those opportunities could be passed to someone from the production department. But I really believe that very soon the introduction of an eco-coordinator position will become a norm. And another thing I wanted to mention when talking about the PGA and their importance was that when they first defined this role, they were talking about it as of a separate department, and they were calling the eco-manager a department head. So while we can theoretically talk about about forming a separate department in the film crew, but yeah, for now, maybe it seems a little bit far ahead. But at least I think that we can spread the knowledge about this profession, and maybe in the nearest future, we will see more and more eco-coordinators emerging on film sets, because from what I know now, well, obviously here in Poland this profession already exists, but usually this person doesn't work during the whole process of production. Sometimes they're asked to consult the script or something, but I really believe that there should be such a person from the very beginning until the very end of the production. So yes, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the great presentation. I think it's pretty interesting, and I'd say, and I want to ask you this, do you recognize the growing interest in this field within your generation? Because when I speak to my students, they are more eager about these issues, and when I speak to my colleagues, like professors in their 40s or 50s, they're much more like, yeah, it just bothers us. It doesn't actually, it's not too efficient. It's just too much work for too small results or something, which is not based on any kind of evidence. It's just a kind of prejudice, which you mentioned, actually, that it can be extremely cost effective if managed properly.
Yes, it's true. I wrote a thesis about implementing green strategies during film production, and I faced a lot with those beliefs that it's not going to change anything. And usually, yes, unfortunately, when talking to older generation, I've heard a lot of prejudice, but I do believe that things are changing now, and the younger generation we're simply more aware of the consequences our actions have on the environment, and I guess that we more than ever realize that it is important to start acting right now. So yes, I guess that, and we'll also talk about this more. So as I said, the education in this field, it is becoming more widespread. So yes, I would say that the hope is in the younger generations.
I agree.
I would move to Victoria, because maybe I will ask a little bit more. Now I understand that this question might be difficult, because it's also, I feel that this is the difficulties. What, because you said that the eco consultant should be not from at the beginning, but also at the post-production. What is the huge disadvantage to, or goal to be eco-consultant during this process? Because as I heard and read and observed, that we are during the development and during shooting, but very rare we are at the post-production discussing the idea of have such a consultants.
Well, yes, in my presentation, when I talked about the responsibilities of an eco manager during the pre-production, I mostly talked about creating the reports, and I didn't really mention what's going on during the post-production. But I believe we actually even had a meeting here on Jam dedicated to the carbon footprint of post-production of films. And well, I think for now this problem is still not it is not solved. It is something just like using electricity during shooting. It is something that we do not really know how to deal with. It's easy to eliminate plastic, or I don't know, choose sustainable catering, but we cannot really influence the amount of electricity we use when during post-production. So I guess that this is one of the most problematic aspects.
Mm-hmm. So the first isn't very eco, especially when we see this stage of post-production, and some tools to measure a little bit more the effects. If we have a plan, we have execution, and we would like to compare, maybe according the storage, the the whole of the process of the post-production. But this is the huge advantage. Yes, do you agree that we also need to take care of it, because not focus only on the filmmaking. Thank you, Victoria. It was very fruitful presentation. So thank you very much. Has anyone any other question? Because if not, we are going, we will move to the last presentation. Thank you once again, Zuzia and Victoria. And now let's give the stage to Philip, and he will describe the working condition on the film set in Europe. Yes, the labor unions and different industry standards. Philip, the floor is yours.
So, yes, I will talk a little bit about my research that I've done during my bachelor degree thesis about working condition on film set, and as it was mentioned on the previous jam session that I had the pleasure to be a participant. I was focusing on the Polish Polish industry working conditions, and during this presentation, I will give the context of some European countries that have really well developed working condition and protection of this industry. But to begin, I will start with the quick introduction why this matter is so important and how it influenced the people, the filmmakers who work in the movie and the TV industry at the daily basis. And then I will I chose three countries, the Great Britain, the France, and the Sweden, as three very interesting and quite different to each other examples of how labor unions can work with production institutions. By production institutions, I mean the institution who gather the producers, and between those two organizations, the contracts that are made to establish some law. So I will exampling this country. I will focus mostly on the working and the rest hours, the overtime, the rest after the shooting day, the rest after the whole week of work, and this labor unions collaboration. And the topic is very important because it affects the people who work in this industry. And by affecting, I mean the health issue, the mental health issue, the physical health issue, because there are quite a big number of researchers who without doubt, they lead to the conclusion that it affects our health, and it is terrible numbers to see that the estimated 35% higher risk of stroke or heart diseases, and it compared to this typical working hours per week, like 35-40 hours per week. And when we compare it to the film sets, when it's typically 12 hours a day, so when we calculated times 5 or even 6 days, it appears 60-70 hours a week. So it's pretty much double this this number of hours per week. So probably this risk gets even higher. So the first country that I will surfacely show you, introduce you to these conditions is the Great Britain, who came up with the very original idea to count the hours during the shooting day, because they presented the free version of shooting day that can be choose and can feed the organization, feed the shooting day, like shooting day, the best fit for the certain production. So it's standard working day, semi-continuous working day, and the continuous working day, and you can choose between those two and put it in your production. So it's different in working hours and the break. So the standard working day, which is the most common, is the 10 hours of the working 10 working hours, and it's excluding 1 hour of the break. So in total time, it's 11 hours. The semi-continuous working day, it's the idea to shorten the break. So at the end of the day, you have shortened the total time in the working day. And the most interesting, in my opinion, concept of the shooting day is a continuous working day, which consists of 9 working hours and no typical break. And by this no break, it means that there is no time during this shooting day where the whole production stops, and everyone has the break on the same time as it usually happen during the shooting that we all know. During these 9 hours, there is they has to provide 20 minutes of the break for each worker, but it's not at the same time. It's asynchronously, if I pronounce it correctly. So every department the head of the department actually decide where the certain department should have the break. So it's not overlapping to each other. So the set as a whole can continue work. And this back-to-back agreement, which is the link at the bottom, explain that there are so departments that are quite exposed to the lack of breaks, which is the production department, which is the correct set design department, who mostly work in overtime, and like they have problems to have a break, to be honest. So they set some rules to make sure that everyone has at least this 20 minutes of the break. So at the end of the day, and in the total time of working day, in the continuous working day, is only 9 hours compared to 11 hours in the startup working day, and compared to 12 hours in some other countries, for example, in Poland, where 12 hours is standard. 12 hours, including 1 hour of break. What's more in this backed agreement? Backed and Pactu are those organization, the Union Labor and Producers Association. They give the definitions of the early starting of a working day, which is 4 to 6 p.m. They explain what is night shift, which is starting the day before 4 a.m. So I just highlighted those to show that there are a lot of definitions. So everybody has no doubt about what is the night shift, what is the early starting day, and what are the salary that they can expect from the overtime. So everything is in this one document, which is amazing for people, so they can that they know what to expect from each work, for each production, and everything is pretty much written in this, and I think it's amazing. Yes, more on that. There is no only this back-to-back agreement, but there are more agreements. For example, for the advertisement and commercial productions, which is also like it's the same like area, but advertisements, as probably part of us know, that it's a little bit different, because it's much shorter. There are like 1, 2, 3 shooting days, so it's sometimes it is wider. And it's also clarified in this agreement, in this document, about the clarity, including paid overtime. Also in this, you can choose between those two types of shooting days, and this both documents are really simple. As I read them, they give the simple definition. The language is very specific, so I think it's a great to have it, so everyone can know what they are like counting on, and not to be surprised when it comes to different production. The second country I would like to introduce you to is France, which is the biggest film industry in Europe. You can see this graphic that shows that it's fourth in the world, and the first in the Europe. The first, I mean, the biggest when you count the box office, but also the number of movie theater screens. So this is the biggest industry when it comes to film. So they also have developed the production cinematography documents that explain pretty much everything when it comes to the filmmakers in France. It's almost 200 pages of of everything you need to know when you want to work in France in the film industry, and it's even more specific than the previous one, I think. In France, what is interesting, you're counting the overtime after the seventh hour of work, and then as you see, you progressively count the hourly wage, which comes to the maximum number of working hours per week to 48, which is the lowest number that I found, because during this presentation I show you the Great Britain, France, and Sweden regulation, but during my bachelor thesis I was also searching and collecting data from Switzerland, Germany, New Zealand even. So I have a little bit wider view on that, and this France kind of counting this hours per week is quite unique. What I focused on is this maximum working hours per week. The rest after the week of work, which means after 5 days of shooting days, how many hours you need to have of a rest, and it should be on Sunday. So it's 48 hours, which is also the higher number of hours from the country I checked. And it's nice. Working on Sundays is it is only in justified circumstances, but this justified circumstances is also explained, which is connected to some local events, happenings, something that can be done in other days. If it comes to other circumstances, it is harder to plan the shooting day on Sunday, which is also good for protecting people to make sure that they can have time to spend this Sunday with friends, with family, so they have find the balance between work and life, which this work-life balance is like the main point of my research, and I wanted to find if anywhere in the world the filmmakers can find this peace and find this balance, and those regulation from France are, I think, pretty close to this balance, and they are really fighting for that. And the Sweden, which I will go in a few minutes, they're really fighting for that. Yeah, the Sweden also really really hard, really well fighting for that work-life balance, because they have really close to the France model, which is this maximum of 48 hours during the 1 week of shooting days, a little bit less, 36 hours of the rest after the week of work, which is more standard, because typically it's counted like the 24 hours of the whole day plus the 11 hours of this minimum rest between working days, which connected gives 35 or 36 hours. So it's very good. It's really good to have this on the paper. Sweden is extraordinary in this topic of work-life balance, because this whole country is much more focused on that than this Midwest or Western country in Europe. And in this agreement that you also have the link below, this is the only agreement that have the section for the parenting and the pregnancy, those regulation in the in this document include parenting, having child, to this problem of spending time. I mean, not spending time with kids is a problem. Like lack of time for kids is a problem, and they try to regulate that. And this is the only place, the only country that has even talk about it and has this on the contract. So it's pioneer, and no one's ever put it in the contract between the labor union and the producers association. And the paid overtime in this document is for all kind of contract, because for example, in Poland there is the problem that overtime is paid only for the people who work per the salary is counted by days rate. If, for example, the set design department or the production department who has this type of contract where the monthly salary is set, it doesn't matter how many hours the production manager will work, if it will be 12 or 24, it doesn't matter if he will have the same salary. So this problem is also solved here, solved here, because the paid overtime are explained for all kind of contracts. Amazing. And again, why is it important? During my thesis, I found a lot of statistics, a lot of searches where people and anquetas, if there's a word in English like that, where people were let's say it easily complained about the conditions in the working in the film industry. And they said about the overtime, about the conditions, about the lack of time for friends, for family, for pets even. So it's when I when I jumped into it quite deeply, it's quite hard to listen to so many frustrated people who love what they do, but they are struggling to find the balance and to not be fully committed to the job, because they also want to have some other hobby. They also want to have friends, family, and contact with them. So it's sometimes really hard to balance. So in some others thesis from our school, from Lodz Film Commission, the friend of ours who did the not the research, she made
The research, it might be, yeah.
yes, the research. She made the research that has this conclusion of over 55% of people who the filmmakers who rate the working on film very bad or bad, and this number of very bad was also quite high. So it's a point where it's the point that we need to very closely look at and think about, so young people will stay in this industry and will have the balance, because for young generation it's even more important, like this point of view that we as a young generation want to have this balance is from the many researches really visible, that we want to have this balance. We want to keep be in touch with our friends, with family, and not be so attached to the work. Even though we like or we even love what we do, we need this balance, and this researches also are showing that. So all these movements, all these agreements, documents are they are made for protective to protect people, to protect filmmakers, and to limit the percentage of these bad circumstances that quite often appears. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Philip, for your great elaboration of the very urgent topic that I think bothers all the artistic industries, but film particularly strong, I'd say so, because the working conditions are very hard. The production organization is as such because it cannot be substantially changed. So the general more efforts is to be invested anyway in the film industry. And I think it's very important that not necessarily young people, but young people like you are dedicated to this kind of research and investigation in order to start affecting the policies, the state policies, the agency policies that can then somehow, well, improve the conditions on the set and in the wider film industry. This is something that, from some of the reading that I've been doing, is noticeable in in most countries in Europe nowadays.
Yes, it's mostly because of the production is extremely expensive. Like I don't know if any other like artistic industry or close to artistic or even creative industry, it's so expensive per day of work, because like in a big production it's hundreds of thousands of dollars per day spent in a shooting day. So 1 hour here or 1 hour here or lack of rest is not was at least not the point of discussion, because it was too expensive to even talk about this. So I think when I was working in the full length, full time feature films or animated movies, I by my experience, I found that it's still a like big issue. Like a lot of a lot of people doesn't want to talk about this because they want to appear as a problematic collaborator, the coworker. So they will not have another invitation for the production, because if I say okay, after 10 hours I will go home, they will not call me again. Like this is the sentence that I heard so many times, and it's kind of true. It's not out of air. So it's big work to do. So yeah, for the start, let's talk about it.
Yeah, and I totally agree that it's so common behavior among the people who hire the people on the film set. So I think that this is a great discussion also among inside of the filmmakers environment. Yes, that this is important. Yes, and I have. Right to take my bets back and go to my home after 10 hard working hours. Yes, but it's some kind of disagree city, yes, to behave like this. Yes, so it's really common.
Yes. And also when it comes to money, as during those previous presentation, that these attacks are on the base of money, because I don't know, cutting the 2 last hours will be really costly and expensive. It's not like that for sure. Like if people are tired, if people are disoriented, they will not work as efficiently as they will if they are they had good sleep, they had good rest, so they can focus on the work. And also there are a lot of researchers that shows that the lack of good sleep and lack of rest leads to lower creative performance. So maybe this research at some point will convince people to focus on this issue a bit more, and I really looking for that.
Okay, but I think that we have lots of reflections after those three great presentation. And finally, on behalf of Goran and myself, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our wonderful speakers, Zuzia, Victoria, and Filip. Thank you for their thoughtful, honest, also and forward looking presentation. We hope this session has inspired and you and think critically and during your own film and media work. Thank you also to everyone who joined us today. Stay tuned for more events from Jem. Goran, thank you again for your co-moderating. Take care. Yes.
Thank you. I would just repeat Malgosia's words. It was really nice to see such a substantial and inspirative contributions from young people. It always brings me so much optimism because talking with my colleagues of my age really kind of brings me not so much optimism, but when I see yours, I'm pretty good. Thank you, especially for that and for the that you provided.
Yes, and also for your energy. Thank you very much. Have a good evening and see you next
See you.
time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
It was very nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.